It's kind of crazy, at least for me, I guess. I remember when the first season dropped. For me, it was a big surprise because this was something that was kind of totally out there and crazy and more adult than a lot of other animation was sort of willing to go. But I loved it, and I was happy that it went on for additional seasons. When you first pitched it, or when you were working on the first season, was that something that you anticipated for it to go on beyond that, or was it considered more of a one-time thing? Like, what was your longer term expectations for the first season?
Oh, we always hoped that it would be more than one. In
Mhm.
fact, we kind of enticed Netflix with just let us do this one, and we'll prove that. Jim Cameron had an interesting analogy. He said the fans of this material are like the dark matter of the universe. We know they're out there. We can feel their pull, but you need to do something like this to bring them into the light.
Yeah.
And not that they're like roaches or anything. It's terrible now. Let me start over.
Dark matter.
Edit. Yes, dark matter. Yes, dark matter. No, it's. We always knew that this could be something that a lot of people would like, even though no one had done it successfully before. And the fact that David was involved and his relationship with Netflix meant we could do it at a really high level instead of,
Right.
just, yeah, I'll stop there.
Well, it's interesting. So you mentioning Jim Cameron and David. I know that at least at some level, the early kind of vision for this is a extension of, or an evolution of, the pitch that you guys had for the heavy metal anthology. Um, and so obviously with that, there was a lot of names attached at different points from David and Jim, um, and I think like Guillermo del Toro or Zack Snyder had talked about doing
Yep.
one. Have any of those guys been approached for opportunity or for ideas for any future episodes or seasons of the show?
I would prefer not to say, but I wouldn't say we don't typically go and approach anybody, but there are a lot of fans of the show, and they were all, I mean, you can't, you in the genre world, all those guys and girls and women are interested in doing animation in this kind of material. So there's a lot of love for it, even in people that you wouldn't, or live action primarily. There's a huge love for animation. That's why David's doing it. What a long lead. I mean, he's like, yeah, let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, and he just now did one. That's a man with patience.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was it was interesting seeing his first one come out of that for sure. Is I know that on these are all like exciting and fulfilling on their own, but also on some level, a lot of it feels almost like a proof of concept or a pitch for something bigger. Like you watch, I know, like last season two, I like watched something like Pop Squad, and I thought, whoa, what how does this get made into a feature length movie? Has that been something that's been discussed, or at least what you would like to be able to do with any of these particular episodes?
A lot of people ask that question, and I think that each short is conceived as a short, but a lot of them are peeks into worlds that are much bigger. Some of these short stories exist in a larger world, so it's really short specific on which ones you might want to be able to expand into another larger sort of format. Something like Pop Squad, the world of Pop Squad, you put all these shorts, you put as much development as you would into a feature, and we make a 15-minute short out of it. It's utterly insane what we're doing.
Yeah.
But we don't underdevelop this stuff. We're very much making this entire world. And it would be lovely to do something that's a world like Pop Squad, but on a larger scale format. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, working on a movie for 2 years, if you are doing your job properly, it's all you think about 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And no matter how interesting Terminator in the future and everything else is, it's an intellectual desert of a sort, where you're working on one product for so long. And when I came off Terminator and back onto Love, Death, and Robots, which was already underway with Jennifer at the helm, it was just like, oh, God, you mean I'm not going to be working on the same thing next week and the week after? This is going to be a different idea, and I can pick a story to direct. We can do that, and and the constant deluge of variety was really, really special. So, they're not lost leaders for feature films. It is an art form in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting. Like I said, they're all, you watch them and for me, there's ones, I mean, there's a combination of either it's like an exciting, thrilling ending or something you want to rewatch and think about. And then there's other ones, like I said, like Pop Squad is a big one, or there's a lot of these that have a peak in this. There's clearly more work put into this than just the 15-minute window. And it's kind of, some of it's screaming for, well, like you have your first sequel, I guess.
The gun dropping on the ground in Pop Squad, at the end of Pop Squad, the discussions that we had over that ending and the way that was configured.
Yeah, that was a lot. Poor Terry,
Yeah.
the head animator, was basically doing reference photos of the gun dropping like over 4 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy. But endings are so, you can win or lose in that final moment, and
Right.
whether people walk away satisfied or not. And so we always put a lot of care. We put a lot of care into everything, but particularly there. Somebody in the movie business once told me that if the first and third act are good, the second act can be shit, and the audience will still feel good. I don't take that attitude to heart, but there's a particular focus on satisfying ending to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, well, that's where some of these feel too, is that you've got the ones that are the third act, or some of them that are even like the first act of a story. We're like, oh, what's the what happens next, or what happens before even. So and then I think that is interesting that you've got I think it's the first sequel of the series is in season 3. How was that? Something that was a natural evolution of the first one, or was that story kind of in your heads or the heads of that team when the part 1 for the robots was made?
I think that we never approach it as let's make sequels. It's not like that. It's more like these characters are ones that people really liked, and we worked with John Scalzi on a lot of the stories, and he loved the characters too. And he was saying, I wish we could do something more with these. And so he came up with all these different scenarios of what we could do. We had many different scripts or outlines for scripts that John had put together.
Yeah, John wasn't going to allow us to not do another three robot story. But people forget how many. I mean, the automated customer service was John's. Alternate histories was John's. The yogurt one was John's.
All amazing.
Both these 3 robots were John's. To say I'm a John Scalzi fan is putting it lightly. And it's not just that he writes great short stories, but he also writes novels, and I've read almost all of those too. Old Man's War, all the whole series is great if you haven't read it.
Well, I know whenever I try to pitch the show to someone, it's always like, what's your entry point? And I would, depending on who it is, try to sell on well, you got to watch if you want to just destroy your mind, watch Beyond Aquila Rift. If you just want and they said, but once you're hooked, like I don't always leave it to like, once you're hooked, you got to go watch the alternate history and the yogurt, but it's hard to lead with those.
Yeah. You got to know your audience.
Yeah.
It's very customized. We did try a little bit of that on season 1, where we led with different stories, and we found that generally speaking, leading with lighter stuff is the gateway drug to the hardcore stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I love the harder stuff, but yeah, the lighter stuff to kind of get warmed up is super fun.
Yeah, especially if you're not a committed genre fan. It's you might need to get massaged.
Yeah. Awesome. I guess that's all the time I got, but I appreciate you guys taking the time for me, and I'm excited to see the rest of season 3 and hopefully what comes next.